here. We're at Zloz Hour studio, and every night is Friday night. So let's go on and see what the fuck's going on.
Hey folks, you're back at the Zloz Hour. I'm Neil Zloz Hour. This is my co-host Sandy Martin, the world famous, beautiful Sandy Martin.
Thank you, Neil.
Golly gee willikers.
Tell them about our beautiful guest.
Our beautiful guest today. We're lucky to have
Absolutely.
a woman who was married to one of the greatest vocalists to ever grace this planet. I mean, he's a living legend.
The best.
Amazing voice, one of the premier rock and roll vocalist ever. I mean, you can't say enough about him. We have the wonderful, beautiful Wendy Dio here with us today. Wendy, come on to the Zloz Hour. Hi, Wendy. What's up? You look beautiful as usual.
Wonderful.
Have a seat. We want to talk to you. We want to talk to you about a whole bunch of stuff here. So how you doing?
Pretty good.
Great.
Pretty good.
Good. I'm seeing you
Hanging in
for a
there?
while.
I'm hanging in there.
You're a strong woman, huh?
I am.
Yes.
You are. Well, unfortunately, the world just recently lost one of the greatest vocalists ever. I mean, you can't say enough about Ronnie's singing talents and his talents as a human being. I mean, one of the nicest people I ever worked with. And it's amazing that such a soft-spoken, wonderful, gentle person can get up on stage and just sing those notes and just, I mean, just thinking about it gives me goosebumps right now. So Wendy, can you tell us a little about you and Ronnie? Like, you know, I mean, you guys were married a long time, right?
How did you meet?
How long?
40 years.
40 years.
In Hollywood?
No, where'd you guys meet?
I mean, that's
We actually met in Hollywood. Yes, we did. We were introduced to the Rainbow by Ritchie Blackmore.
Ritchie Blackmore of Rainbow. Now,
Yeah.
I gotta tell you guys something. So I was first introduced to Ronnie as far as his music because Ritchie Blackmore is probably my favorite guitarist of all time. You know, I love a lot of people, Eddie Van Halen, Steve Vai, but if you said who's the sickest, craziest, wild, most unique guitarist, I like Ritchie's playing. So when Ritchie left Deep Purple, which was one of my all-time favorite bands, John Lord on keyboards, Ian Gillan on vocals, next band he comprised was Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. And I went out and I got the first album. I'm like, oh my God, who's singing? This is just, it's sick. It's like the voice is so clean and crisp, but he just had such a vocal range. So Ritchie actually introduced you guys at the Rainbow one night?
Introduced us, yes.
So how did that go about? You guys were hanging? Did you know Ritchie?
I knew Ritchie many, many years before because I was a booking agent in England.
Oh, you were? Well, how was that? So you were booking him Deep Purple days?
No, I wasn't booking Deep Purple. But
Oh.
I used to book, I watched the band and I knew the band very well.
You knew Deep Purple?
I knew Deep
Okay,
Purple.
well that must have been great. So did you ever go
And I
see
knew Ritchie's wife very well, Babs, at the time.
Babs, German
yeah.
girl, right?
Yeah.
I remember Babs.
So was it love at first sight or?
No.
No?
I met Ronnie and he sort of chatted me and we went to Richie's house for a party.
Didn't he live right behind Sunset
Yeah,
in
he
that
did.
castle
Yeah,
house? Yeah.
yeah,
Typical Ritchie.
And so I said, oh no, he's much too short for me.
Yeah, that's a little height. You're a pretty tall woman, and Richie was a little on this
Well, I'm
shorter.
not that tall, I just wear big heels.
Oh, well,
and
that's
I
okay.
like to wear big
Well, that's
heels.
okay. But you must have been towering over Ronnie.
Well, he was 5'3" and I'm 5'6", but with heels on, I'm probably 5'9".
Yeah, well, usually guys get that complex, and you know,
Oh,
but
he-
Ronnie's so cool, he
did
probably
not
had no
have a complex
complex.
at all, no. And he kept calling me and bugging me, and I think I fell in love with his brain.
His brain.
He was so intelligent and so funny and could talk about anything at all and make you feel like you were wonderful.
Is Ronnie American?
Yes.
Okay, because he was, I mean, being in Rainbow, I mean, if I
and
remember,
Black
it was
Sabbath, yeah. Mhm.
Jimmy Bain, it was it Tony Carey on keyboards, and Cozy Powell on drums,
Cozy
the
Powell.
late, great Cozy
But
Powell.
the original Rainbow was all of Elf.
Oh, wait, what? Who was in the original Rainbow?
The original Rainbow was
Richie?
yeah, but Richie's was the Elf open to Deep Purple
Right.
for a whole
And-
bunch of world tours.
And that's where Richie
That's
obviously
where Richie
picked up
did.
on his
And
vocal
Richie wanted
talents.
Ronnie to join him, but Ronnie didn't want to leave his band because they were all his mates from
Right.
Portland, upstate New York. Anyway, so well, the original first record, Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, was done with all of Elf,
Right.
less the guitar player.
Right.
It was Mickey Lee Soul, Gary Driscoll on drums, who unfortunately died. I don't remember who the bass. Oh, Craig Gruber was the bass player.
Boy, that's
And
funny. That's
that-
so
that was-
they played on the actual
They
first
played
Rainbow?
on the first album, which was Richie Blackmore's Rainbow.
Right.
And then one by one, they got the axe.
Who axed him, Richie?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, how do we guess, Gil? Richie. But you know what? I shot them because I remember they used to always stay at the Sunset Marquee.
Right.
So, and it's funny, I probably shot them right around the time of Rainbow Rising, which the first album was really good, but I think they really got a little more peppy and
well,
came in.
there you got Cozy Powell in there.
Well,
you got
Cozy,
Jimmy
I mean,
Bain.
Jimmy Bain.
Right.
I'm Jimmy Bain. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
Jimmy. I saw Jimmy at Ronnie's, more.
Tony Carey, yeah.
Tony Carey on keyboard.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great lineup. But the funny thing is, I shot him at the Sunset Marquee, and Richie was getting a little thin up there, And then the very next year, I guess when maybe I think the live album came out before Long
Rainbow on
Live.
Stage.
Yeah, that's a great album. And I'll tell you a funny story about that. But so it was about a year later, and I shot him again at the Rainbow, at the Sunset Marquee, and we did the exact same photos because back then the Sunset Marquee was a dump.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was a
yeah.
nothing. Now, if you come to Los Angeles, the
gorgeous.
Sunset Marquee is the
Beautiful.
cool in
Yes.
place with villas, $500. But it's funny, all of a sudden, Richie had twice as much hair as he did the session before. He got his new little look going down there. But Ronnie looked the same, and I can't remember if Jimmy was still in the band. They did a couple band members, but I think it was still Cozy, Richie, and Ronnie, which was the nucleus of that band. But the funny thing is when the double live album came out, that album's great, but I was a Yardbirds fan when I was growing up, and one of the most depressing downer songs I ever heard in my life was the Yardbirds version of Still I'm Sad. They go, oh, it's like you want to go and commit suicide.
Right.
And I think the best song on that double, what was it called? Stage Struck?
No,
The Rainbow Live.
Rainbow Live on Stage.
Rainbow Live on Stage. The best song, the last song, Still I'm Sad. Oh my God.
Because they got the monks thing going on in it and everything.
Well, I don't know what they had, but Richie's playing and Ronnie was just belting it out, and it was like, that was, as a matter of fact, I think the day that I heard Ronnie passed away, I actually put that song on here and cranked it up to 25 to listen to it. It was like, gave me goosebumps and stuff. So, and then after that, I guess came Long Live Rock and Roll.
Yep.
And that was Gates of Babylon, Long Live Rock.
Stargazer, all those ones.
And all the technical, I mean, let alone was that band a real hardcore rock and roll band, but that album got a lot of notoriety for all the playing. I mean, everybody loved Richie's playing and Ronnie singing and
Cozy's drumming. Yeah.
right. I mean, Cozy.
Jimmy was great bass.
Oh, Jimmy was still in the band at that point.
I'm trying to think. I think Jimmy was in the band. I can't remember. I think Jimmy was in the band the whole time Ronnie was in the band.
Well, I remember. I think Tony
remember?
Carey, I think departed at some point.
Yeah, because that David.
I know that. I know his face. It's too many brain cells to go for me. But
What was your favorite period of ever? I mean, I'm sure all of them, and there were so many different things that he's done with different bands. What was your favorite?
That's just the beginning. We got 8 more ventures to go. But go on. I won't interrupt.
Lots of fun in Rainbow. Lots of fun because we were. We were young. Everything was new to us. We went all over the world, and we had a lot of fun. We lived in a big house in Connecticut. We didn't have any money, but we had a big house, and a big car, and I think about $100 a week.
Where in Connecticut were you? Because my ex-wife, who I call Bongo, she lived in Connecticut. That's where she was born.
New Canaan.
New what?
New Canaan.
You know what? Every time I ask someone about Connecticut, it's the smallest state in the USA, and it's got more cities than any other place. Probably got more cities than Texas.
New Canaan is kind of like stockbroker belt community. Very boring.
Well,
beautiful houses, but very boring.
Well, my ex-wife's from Meriden, Wallingford, and you don't get much more boring than Meriden.
Well, yeah, pretty boring.
What made you go there was...
it was requested that we move to Connecticut because of the band, the management, and Richie was living in Connecticut. When I met Ronnie, he lived in Malibu. But then we were asked to move out there, so we moved out there, and we looked at houses, and it was a gorgeous house. It was a 200-year-old Dutch colonial, and it's on 5 acres. It had a guest house, which was actually a coach house, and it was a beautiful house, but it was very lonely because a lot of times Ronnie was on the road. I was there by myself.
In this big house.
Big house with just my dogs. And that was it.
Well, dogs are good companions.
Dogs are great companions, yeah.
And we're going to talk about your animal charity a little later on, but so. so here we got Rainbow, and then so what happened with Rainbow? Because Rainbow tooled on without Ronnie, but what good's Rainbow without Ronnie? We had Graham, I call him Graham Bonehead. What is Graham Bonnet?
He's a great singer, Graham.
Yeah, but how do you fill Ronnie's shoes? I mean, how do you fill his shoes? And then we had Jolyn Turner. Well, how does Jolyn?
Well, they're different singers, and the reason why Ronnie departed was fired, actually.
Ronnie got fired?
He got fired, yes, he was fired.
By Richie?
Yes, he was fired. Well, I don't think Richie actually told him. I think management told him.
Management, but told Richie to be the bad guy and fire him.
He wanted Ronnie to write more commercial.
Right.
And Ronnie doesn't write love songs, and he wrote about his, his dreams and his devils and dragons and so on, and he didn't write love stories, and he didn't want to be more commercial. He wanted to write continue to do what he did.
But you know, it's really funny because I've read interviews with Richie, and Richie's in my guitar book, and he was bagging on Deep Purple House, saying how they wanted to go in a different direction and they were getting a little commercial and a little poppy. So here he's being a
hypocrite.
A hypocrite, thank you, Sandy. So we're saying, well, it's probably the management saying, look, we need to make something.
Management. Usually comes
but Richie, got brainwashed by the management. So here he's leaving Deep Purple because they're getting poppy and leaving the direction they started. And
Jolyn Turner went on to be very successful with Rainbow. I mean,
right, they had a couple of hits there, but I mean, to me, once Ronnie left Rainbow, there's no more Rainbow. I didn't pay attention.
It was a different style.
Yeah. And then I guess Ronnie went on and said, "Look, I'm gonna do what I want to do and form my own band."
Well, we came from Connecticut. We drove back to LA, and I said, "We gotta go back to LA because this is what we should do."
Right, nothing's in Connecticut.
No, and Ronnie worked with a lot of different people. He was working with Skunk Baxter for a while.
It doesn't seem like a...
No, he was performing, doing different things, and then he went up to audition with Black Sabbath.
That was... Oh, you know what? I got my timing wrong, because I thought, I guess it wasn't. So here, now, people know me, I like heavy metal and stuff, and I've never been a big Black Sabbath fan. But my favorite Black Sabbath album, period, of all time is Heaven and Hell. Ronnie James Dio singing. So that was a really successful album too.
Yes, it was incredibly successful. They had done Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die before that, which didn't do very well.
That was Ozzy?
That was Ozzy. Yeah. But then they did Heaven and Hell, and it was like, well, it took Black Sabbath in a different direction.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, those songs, just Heaven and Hell and everything, is great.
To another level.
Yeah. The players are amazing too.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Tony Iommi is incredible.
Tony's
Geezer Butler is, one of my best, the best.